Well, first, the snub, now the rub. The White House trying to put a positive spin on Saudi King Salman's decision to skip the president's summit on Thursday. Reports suggesting the king's not happy with those nuke talks with Iran, but something the White House is disputing. General Jack Keane says, forget the spin. The Saudi snub is a very big deal, and the fact that three others are also snubbing means it's a party that isn't really a party. But, General, what do you make of this? Because it is unusual when anyone gets a White House invite to decline, especially when it's at Camp David. But what's going on here?
Well, this is actually a reflection of this administration's policies in the Middle East and the arrogance of those policies and the naiveness. The arrogance is this. Our closest ally, Israel, has laid out for this administration what the problems are with Iran and the dangers that are involved. Our closest Arab allies have done very much the same thing, time and time again, yet the administration ignores it. That is arrogance. The naiveness is after 35 years, Iran has been using proxies to run roughshod over the Middle East and to kill close to 2,000 Americans in those years. The reality is that you think you can have a détente with Iran as a result of a nuclear framework deal, and they will join the community of nations, is what the goal of the administration is extraordinarily naive. And that's at the bottom of the frustration of the four leaders who are not coming, is those two factors. And they're tired of participating in what is a charade. In other words, a photo op here that somehow they're all cooperating in some fashion with the administration as it moves towards this very dangerous deal with Iran. They're not going to put up with it.
You know, he could have just as easily contacted them by phone. I think this was cobbled together almost at the last minute. And naturally, you know, these guys have things to do, but obviously it comes at a time when they're not big fans of our approach with Iran and all this other stuff. So why do you think the president took the extra measure to say we're going to have a Persian Gulf Leaders Summit at Camp David? You're all invited. Did he just think that this would be a moment where they'd all want to get something off their chest, even if they didn't like it, because they'd all be together? Or did they all, to a man almost, say no?
I think they came to the conclusion that, one, nothing was going to come of this discussion because the administration is totally fixated on the nuclear framework deal that leaves all of Iran's nuclear infrastructure in place and lets them have a nuclear weapon in 10 years. And they knew that there's no amount of words or rhetoric that a king or a head of state would have any impact on that decision, which is already made. And therefore, they're not going to participate in the charade.
You know, General, I'm wondering what's odd is that Israel has brokered better talks and discussions with these leaders than has the White House, which is really weird, you know, if you think about it.
Well, we have that. We have France involved. We have Turkey expressing concern. Here's one of the byproducts of this. You know, nothing changes when the United States, everything changes when the United States pulls away and disengages, as we are currently doing in the Middle East, and moving towards the Iranians. One of the things that's going to happen is this plays into ISIS's hands, because the reality is they want Syria to go so they can deal with ISIS. That is Turkey and the Arab nations. We will not move against Assad and Syria because of the Iranian deal. And as a result of that, what are they doing? They're taking actions themselves to back radical Islamist organizations that are willing to overthrow Assad. That is Jabhat al-Nusra and other Islamic fundamentalist organizations inside Syria. And that is not a good outcome. But in their minds, they have no choice because they cannot let Assad stay there as a client state of the Iranians and contribute to regional hegemony, which the Iranians are after.
It is scary. General, good having you again. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, good talking to you, Neil.
Same here. All right, well, what would you do? What would you do if you got a letter saying you were dead? Well, it just happened to a veteran, very much alive and well. And now, in his first national interview, Robert Presley says the VA has made his life a living hell.